Welcome to FSU Chats. My name is Allison Lee Chews. I serve as the Director of New Student and Family Programs and an Associate Dean in the Department of Student Support and Transitions. And we're super glad to have you here tonight, being able to answer any of your remaining questions before your students start classes on Monday. I can't believe it's already there and already time for that, but really just wanted to say thank you for joining us. FSU Chats is one of those sessions that's here to inform family members and sometimes students, if you joined us, on important aspects of student life, provide you support around key topics that maybe sometimes students will struggle with throughout their college experience, and really most importantly, answer your questions throughout this experience. But before we get too far in, I think it's always important to start off by saying congratulations. We're so glad you're here. There is so much that goes into going to college, and definitely a lot that goes into supporting a student while they're going into college. And so we want to say congratulations. You've gotten your student this far, and we're very proud of your students and looking forward to having them here with us on campus if they're not already. Some of you probably are getting ready to do move-in, and that's okay too. But we just want you to know that you play a really critical role in the student experience, and we're happy to help you along the way. And you have an office that is here and ready to support you. So speaking of that office, we are New Student and Family Programs. And New Student and Family Programs is committed to facilitating a welcoming and inclusive transition to Florida State University for both students and families, Beyond New Normal Orientation, which some of you probably participated in this summer, NSFB hosts signature programs like FSU's Birthday, Ask a Knoll, First Day Photos, in addition to the Family Connection e-newsletter, FSU Chats, which you're a part of tonight, and Notes to Your Knoll, Coffee and Conversations, and more. There's a ton of information on our website, which is nsfp.fsu.edu. Got it there on the screen for you as well. And we would definitely encourage you to get to know about the programs and services that New Student and Family Programs puts on. The first of which is the Family Connection e-newsletter. And if you haven't joined our e-newsletter, there's a lot of good information that goes out monthly to keep you informed about what's happening on campus. And then also in situations where something's happening on campus, inclement weather or something similar, we'll send out emergency notifications on your behalf as well, just to make sure that you're informed and connected about what's happening on campus and potentially impacting your student. So you can visit dsst.fsu.edu/nsfp/family/e-newsletter, a long one, but we do encourage you to go ahead and sign up for that. And definitely stay in touch with New Student and Family Programs. We're on a variety of social media platforms, and this is one of the easiest ways to stay informed and connected. You can find us by looking up FSU and SFP. And then in regards to upcoming events, there's a variety of events happening for Welcome FSU, which I'll talk about on the next slide, but some specific events that New Student and Family Programs hosts each year. Campus hotspots, just highlighting some locations that your student might want to be familiar with. That's taking place tomorrow at 4 p.m., leaving from Landis Green. We've got Ask a Knoll, which is designed to help your student navigate classes and where their classes are located, answer any general questions they may have. And that's taking place on the first 2 days of school, August 23rd and 24th, from 7:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. And then lastly, we have First Day Photos, which is just a really cool event. I think family members like it more than students do most of the time, but students can come and take a first day or last first day photo with one of our signature signs, and we'll post it on social media. They can share it with friends, and if they enter and tag NSFP, they have the chance of winning an I Bleed Garnet and Gold orientation t-shirt, which is really cool too. So that's taking place on August 23rd and 24th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Landis. And a piece that I forgot to mention about that Ask a Knoll opportunity is that those are stationed throughout campus. So we have 10 different locations for your student to drop by and ask just general questions. They're spread out so your student doesn't have to be lost on their first day. And then the last thing, Welcome FSU is our official welcome program for the university for all of our students. And it kicked off earlier this week on August 16th, and it will continue through the 27th. So next week, we definitely encourage you to check out all the events at welcome.fsu.edu. I think we had over 60 plus events, which was really cool. So you've heard enough from me. I'm going to turn it over to our wonderful orientation leaders. Stop sharing my screen here and encourage them to do their introductions, tell you a little bit about the work that they do and what they're involved with on campus. And then we'll turn it over to you all for questions.
Alrighty, hello everyone. My name is Adriana Nguyen. I use she, her pronouns. I'm currently a third-year student here at Florida State studying political science and public relations. And one thing that I'm involved with on campus is FSU Homecoming.
Hey y'all, my name is Deborah Jean. I use she, her pronouns. I'm a second year studying psychology from Port St. Lucie, Florida, and I'm involved with Afro-Latinx Student Association.
Hi everyone, my name is Maddie Mendez. I use he, him, his pronouns. I'm a third year majoring in political science and editing, writing, and media. I'm originally from Kissimmee, Florida, and I'm involved with the Pride Student Union on campus.
Hey everyone, my name is Ayana Alexandre. I use she, her pronouns, and I am a fourth year student majoring in family and child sciences from Fort Pierce, Florida, and I'm involved in Big Sister, Little Sister mentoring program.
Awesome. Thanks for being here, y'all. So now that we know a little bit about the orientation leaders that we have with us tonight, I do want to tell you a little bit about how this will work. So down at the bottom of your screen, there's a Q&A feature with two little chat boxes above it. If you do have a question that you want our orientation leaders to answer, please go ahead and start typing those in the chat. I'm going to first start off with some just introduction questions to get to know them a little bit better, and then we'll turn it over to y'all for y'all's questions. So please feel free, again, to use that Q&A feature down along the bottom of your Zoom room. So first off, and I'm wondering if all of you will answer this, if you can, what would you say is your biggest piece of advice that you would give to an incoming first year student?
Yeah, so this is something that I always like to say to my students in our small group sessions is that, you don't have to be scared of rejection. I always say that my first semester, even my first year, I was rejected from a lot of the things I applied to. And, while that does hurt in the moment, I think the biggest learning opportunity is taking that hurt and turning it into something productive. So, reaching back out to the people that you wanted a position with and asking why you didn't get it and turning that into a constructive learning opportunity instead of something that's just going to bog you down, because then when you apply for the next position, you'll be in a much better place.
I would definitely say my piece of advice is definitely to just get involved. And it's not necessarily just like getting involved with 10 different things. Even if it's just one organization or club that you just feel like it's the part of you, find something that really speaks to you and really moves you to what you want to do in your future or what you just like to do now. And that's the best way to make friends, make connections, and really just have a great time at Florida State.
I would say for my piece of advice, definitely feel free to reach out to anybody and everybody on campus. Your professors are there to help you. I know sometimes in a big lecture hall class with over 100 students, it may not feel like your professor is there for you as an individual, but they definitely are, as well as your teachers' assistants. And really any person above you on this university can help you with something. So just reach out and make the most of those connections, because you're making those connections with your professors and you could potentially have a letter of recommendation in the future or really anything. So just make the most of those connections while you have them.
I will say for me, I kind of align with Ayana, not only just getting involved with clubs, but also people. I say fake it till you make it, knock on people's doors, try to interact as many people as you know, because definitely some people that might not look like you thought you were going to be friends with, they become the friends for the whole 4 years. They bring you to new events and then able to explore stuff that you never even explored in your own hometown.
Those are really great. I appreciate it. Y'all hit on my next question, so I'll go ahead and ask it. How did you get involved? Where did you learn about these things that you are doing on campus? And how can new students find these opportunities?
So for me, the first thing that I did when I wanted to get involved was go to the involvement fair. And this happens at the beginning of every semester. So on the 24th, that is when our fall involvement fair is going to be. When I was a first year student, I attended that with one of my friends and I got to know a little bit more about campus and, just some of the orgs that people were really passionate about. That is when I first got involved with the Asian American Student Union. And I got to connect with a lot of people there and meet some new friends. So I would definitely encourage anyone to check that out. It is happening on Landis Green again on Tuesday, the 24th from 5 to 9. So hopefully we'll see y'all there.
I would also say Knoll Central is a best website to use if you want to find out what organizations and clubs are on campus. And they also post like when they have events or when they meet, usually every week. So that's a great source as well. And also, I would also say to like, even if you're afraid, because me personally, I was afraid to go to the first GBM by myself and no one wanted to go with me, but I ended up going by myself anyway, and I enjoyed myself. So don't be afraid of going by yourself or anything like that, or even finding friends to go with if you don't want to go alone.
I will say for me, Instagram became my best friend. I would just search up FSU anything, and all these clubs kept popping up. So I would just follow clubs that I thought I was interested in. And they definitely post a lot of when they're going to meet up, like definitely for the involvement fair. I know I followed the BSU and then HLSU. So they just post all the things that they're going to, and then you find events that are going to happen within this week or even for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I definitely recommend social media. And also, if you just attend a general business meeting for any of our registered student organizations, you don't have to commit to that organization necessarily. It's just to try out everything. And if you like it, then that's great. And you can keep on coming back. But if you would rather try something else, that's definitely a valid path too.
Very cool. I know a lot of different folks mentioned ways to get in contact with folks. So we did drop the social media who we think you should follow. And it's just a list to get started. Trust me, it's not comprehensive because there's so many wonderful opportunities on campus for both you and your student. But these sites that are listed are typically ones that will repost other events happening too. So you might check out that resource that I dropped in the chat. And I also dropped in Knoll Central since that was mentioned as well. Looks like we have a question from a family member. So I'll go ahead and ask that now of our orientation leaders. If folks are moving in and they want to come out and explore campus, are they able to do that? And are there any restrictions on visiting campus? What does that look like?
It's totally open to the public. I would say probably the only restriction there would be, you may not be able to get into certain buildings. But other than that, like the restaurants are definitely open for everyone to eat at and just walk around campus and see what campus is really like. And yeah, they actually have trying to find my words. When you go to the stadium, they actually have like a QR code where you could do a self-guided tour. So if that's something that you're very interested in and want to find your way around campus, definitely a suggestion.
I'm going to drop a link in the chat. Oh, somebody already beat me to it. Good job, Maddie. So Maddie just dropped information about that self-guided tour option. I definitely highly suggest that. Campus is very good and cool to explore and just kind of catch a glimpse, and it is definitely coming to life. The one thing that I'll remind folks is that masks are expected on campus in response to COVID-19. So please make sure you're wearing a mask and we'll be good from there. Also, Monday is the first day of class. Just be a little prepared for increased traffic and a lot of people probably being very excited because it's been about a year and a half since we've had a true normal year. So we're looking forward to students being back. Again, if y'all have questions, please feel free to drop that in the Q&A feature down along the bottom of our Zoom room. But I'll ask my next question. Can y'all talk a little bit about parking and transportation options on campus, what you've personally utilized and what's really beneficial for y'all throughout your student experience?
Yeah, so for me, my first year, I walked a lot on campus. So I did have a car, and I'm not gonna lie, my car stayed parked for most of the week. So, if you are planning on bringing a car to campus, that's what I would recommend. FSU is a very walkable and beautiful campus. So, between classes, do some sightseeing, stuff like that. But I do commute now, and, parking on campus, you just have to factor in a little bit extra time just in case you might not find your most ideal spot. But I personally have never had trouble finding parking on campus. You just have to do that extra time planning to make sure you get to class on time. And overall, that's like been a very beneficial experience for me. There's also public transportation on campus with the Semilla Express, the Tallahassee bus system, and stuff like that.
I will also add with parking, I also drive, and everything Adriana was like said was perfect. I will add that the parking pass is just reopened, and you will need a parking pass to park on campus, or they probably will give you a ticket or tow your car. And I'll actually drop that in the chat. And all you have to do is register for it using like your car information. And it's a virtual parking pass. You won't even need to print anything out.
Can anyone speak to game day parking and what some specifics are around that? Anybody have any insight?
I do not have like exact insight, but I do know we do have like a parking next to the stadium that once it is game day, they do have to move their cars. But we do have an app that'll show you exactly which parking available. I know there's the Circus and then one next to Reagan. So there is that for the game days.
Yes, and the university is very communicative as to, game day is coming. So, if you're parked in any of these garages that are reserved for game day, like they give you enough time to like, get to your car and move it to somewhere that, you won't get towed. So just make sure that you're checking your FSU email and keeping up to date with announcements from the university, and you'll be good to go.
We also try to do family members a solid and post that on our social media, because we know, unfortunately, students don't always, no offense, y'all, but sometimes y'all don't check your email very regularly. And so we want to make sure that y'all get the message and hopefully avoid any undue stress that goes into taking classes and that kind of thing. So definitely keep an eye out. Another shameless plug to follow new student and family programs on social media. Awesome. Another question that I've received is, what if my student's wanting to change their major? What are the steps that they should take in order to do that? Is it too late since classes are starting on Monday?
So I actually did change my major, and the easiest way is to contact your advisor that you are heavy major, and then also contact the advisor for the next major. So even if you're not able to switch it automatically, you can just like see which classes overlap and then see the best classes that are going to be able to fill both of them.
Awesome. Another question that I'd love for y'all to talk through is, what's one resource that's just been really helpful for you throughout your college experience? And can you tell us where you found out about it, why you used it, anything that you can share about that would be great.
Oh, okay, I'll say the ACE Lab, which is the Academic Center for Excellence, if I'm not mistaken. And it's where you could find tutoring, especially in math. And I definitely found it actually because I worked right next to it and I had no idea. And not only can you get tutoring for things, you can also learn how to time manage and organize and things like that, as well as they have study rooms. And I know a lot of places, especially during finals week, are packed with study rooms and people forget that there's ACE. So I go there to study half the times, and I love over there. And it's always quiet. It's very quiet over there.
Yeah, one of my favorite on-campus resources is the Career Center. I first had my experience with the Career Center because they came and did a presentation from one of the orgs that I'm involved with. So I've gone to them for like resume help. I never wrote a cover letter before, so like they helped me do that as well. And the Career Center has also a lot of different opportunities for students. So there's like Intern FSU, which is a paid intern program that's on campus for FSU students, as well as something called Null Network, which is essentially a LinkedIn for FSU students, alumni, faculty, staff, and stuff like that. So the Career Center has really helped me stay connected with like the more professional opportunities that like hopefully people are looking to get involved with throughout their time in college.
Something that I really utilized my first year was my college life coach. The college life coaching program is through Advising First. And at first, I really didn't think I needed a life coach. I didn't think I needed someone to coach me through my first year, but it turned out to be a really meaningful connection for me. I still talk to my life coach to this day, and I'm now in my third year at Florida State. and it's just been a really impactful guide for me, and just someone that keeps me grounded, doesn't necessarily have to like put like academic advising or anything like that. It's just really someone to talk to about the things that you're struggling with or things that you're proud of, and someone that can put you in touch with like involvements. My life coach is probably the reason I'm in half the stuff I'm in today, so I cannot recommend college life coaching enough.
I definitely will say for me, I am with Ayana. I love the ACE Center. I don't really like studying in my room. So being able to have like a room with my friends, like even though sometimes we don't be studying, it's definitely that place to be. And then there's food available. So as long as I study in the morning and then eat Chick-fil-A at the afternoon.
That's a good little incentive. If I study here, I get food, and it's Chick-fil-A. For those of you who aren't familiar with how campus is laid out, Chick-fil-A and the Academic Center for Excellence are literally steps away from each other. So that's really nice. Very cool. Awesome. Again, just a reminder, if you do have any questions, please feel free to drop those in the Q&A section down along the bottom. A next question, I'm wondering if y'all can talk a little bit about your favorite campus event that you've been to throughout your time at FSU.
So I am going to do a little bit of a shameless self-plug. Earlier, I did say that I'm involved with FSU Homecoming, and that is a really great week-long of events that the university puts on every year. It's really great for the Tallahassee community. A lot of alumni come back, but, events are happening right on campus. Students love them. We have things like a zip line come out and a swing ride that swirls around. So it's all really fun stuff, free food, free merch. And it's a really great time to kind of connect with FSU traditions and make new friends and all of those great things. So it is going to be in October this year. So hopefully that'll be a great experience for new students.
Yeah, see, I was just saying kind of the same thing. I don't know if it's always like at a specific time, but FSU loves to have fairs on Landis, and I love them because it's always free food and free shirts, like Adriana was saying. I also love the ice cream social, which another, I guess, plug for FSU in itself. It's tomorrow on Landis, the ice cream social, if I'm not mistaken. I hope it is. Yeah, but I love the ice cream social because it's a social, and usually the president comes out of FSU and you get to kind of speak with him, take pictures with your friends and everything like that, and really just enjoy like FSU campus. And everyone always brings their dogs. That's why I love Landis.
I would say my favorite event has always been Family Weekend. I live 5 hours away from Tallahassee, or my parents do. So getting to see them for a little weekend in October is always very fun. They do performances by the Flying High Circus, which is really cool. There's usually a football game happening that weekend, and there's always like a family 5K run. So it's just a bunch of activities that you can do with family members, and it also gives family members another chance to see the campus. So Family Weekend is definitely something to check out, especially if you're a little homesick like me.
Just like the rest, I must plug Market Wednesday. We do have it every Wednesday, and I love being able to kind of see like other cultures, kind of see other activities. And the fact that they have food, I do mention Chick-fil-A, I love to eat. So the fact that they have food, listening to music, and then all the clubs.
Very cool. Dropping the link to that Market Wednesday. Those happen typically Wednesdays throughout the semester. We have a really cool culture centered around that. Vendors, tons of things. And then Sound Hour, which is really nice and a very cool social event space. We're very much looking to the union to re-in. They are still doing Market Wednesday in the meantime. But when the union officially opens, I think that's when we will fully get back to the Market Wednesday tradition. So I did drop that in there. Because Ayana mentioned the president or the ice cream social, traditionally the president's social is held in like April. This year we're starting a new tradition with a vice president's ice social, and I think that's what Ayana was talking about, and it's actually on Monday, part of the Welcome FSU events. And I did drop the calendar in there for you all to share with your students, and hopefully you'll encourage them to join us and get connected. I know I saw a question come in about college life coaching, and I think Maddie and Ayana both were in that program. So can you all talk a little bit more specifically on what that is and kind of how that works?
Sure. So you typically get assigned a life coach if you meet some sort of requirements, but you can definitely apply to receive a coach, or you can do walk-in coaching. I was given a coach, and that's why I said I really don't need one. But my first meeting with them, they're bi-weekly meetings usually. Every 2 weeks you meet with them, and they're a faculty member at FSU. And it's just an opportunity to talk about what's going on in your first year and just to debrief about certain things. They can help you out with their experience. And it's just an opportunity to talk to someone. It's another listening ear for you for your first year.
Yeah, I actually received my life coach through the CARE program, which is the Center for Academic Retention and Enhancement. Sorry, I'm bad with acronyms. And yeah, I met with him every 2 weeks. And just with that, it kind of allowed me to look back on my 2 weeks at FSU. Because I think a lot of times, like, it's overwhelming, but we don't like sit down and figure out why it's either overwhelming or like what we have going on and things like that. So it's very helpful to have, a faculty be able to speak with you about what's going on at FSU, and also be able to give you resources that you don't know, especially your first like 2 years going to FSU. So yeah, it's something I definitely recommend. I loved it. I actually worked in life coaching. Like, that's where I used to work my freshman and sophomore year. I worked in the office, and they're just very great people. I love them to bits. I definitely recommend it.
All right. So for maybe Adriana and Deb, if y'all didn't have a life coach, can y'all talk about how you found someone that was in that mentorship role for you, or a close connection that you could kind of bounce ideas off of throughout your college experience?
Yeah, for sure. For me, it was a lot of kind of going to older members of the clubs that I was in, and talking with them about their experiences, going to them for advice and stuff like that. It was an extra bonus if they were like in a similar major as me, and kind of just looking to older, more experienced like students that you'll encounter throughout your time at Florida State, and using their experiences as lessons for yourself as well. Your orientation leader is a great resource for you, especially throughout that first semester, that first year. I still talk to mine, and I went to her so many times throughout my first year, like, which class should I do? Like, which club should I go to? When is this event happening? So I really encourage y'all to look to your orientation leaders and other older members of, orgs and stuff that you might get into, and, use them as a resource, and, they'll have really great advice for you.
Just like Adriana, I did the same thing. I just went to older people, and I feel like I had an advantage because I am a psych major, which is psychology. So a lot of people did dabble in it. So if I went to a group of 5 people, I'll find one person psychology. So I'll just ask them questions, ask them who they went to. And then along with, I did come with an AA. So just finding certain programs for the way that I entered to see how they'll help me with my degree and then the pathway I'm going to. And then, of course, credits that I did come from high school, and then how to manage that as a freshman.
Very cool. Another question that we got was about on-campus jobs or off-campus jobs, and how you balance that, and just in general, how you found them.
It's actually kind of funny. I currently got a new job at the Leach, which is our recreational center. And I love on-campus jobs because they're very understanding. Like, if a shift is from 9 to 3 and you have class at 3 o'clock exactly, they'll definitely let you out early to make it on time, because it's a work study. Main part is study, even though it's second. But I love finding work studies and working on campus. I personally really just look up FSU jobs or student jobs. And then usually like the first thing that pops up is what I use to find the different jobs on campus. If you do have a work study, they email you like a list of work study available jobs on campus, so it's a bit easier. But I love working on campus. You really can work like 9 to 10 hours a week and schedule it in between different classes and make it so much easier to fit into your schedule. So something I definitely recommend, especially like your first year, if you're trying to juggle and you want to, earn a bit money on the side, I would definitely recommend it.
Yeah, and I will say, like, if you are looking to find a job or an on-campus job, to kind of keep that in mind, especially as you make your schedule and stuff, and making sure you're leaving enough time between classes, not only to just come like and walk to your job or your next class, but also that it's like enough time to actually work a shift. That's just something like to keep in mind as you're like planning your schedule and making sure you have enough time to rest and relax and reset as well, because we all love making a little extra money, but if that comes at the expense of your own well-being, your mental health, and also your grades, then it takes a little bit of moving things around to find a schedule that fits right for you.
I did drop in the part-time job fair that's being held during Welcome FSU. That's a really great opportunity to find some open positions on campus. And as Ayana mentioned, and Adriana, like managing your time around that, those are really important. And I really love on-campus jobs for that reason, because they will kind of work with you and your students. So yeah. All right, well, we are nearing that time. We have plenty of time for more questions. I've got just one or two more on my list. So if you do have any other questions, please feel free to drop those in the Q&A feature or the chat, whichever works best for you. But my next question is specifically talking about advice that you would give for family members, maybe something that your family member did that you really appreciated and let you know that you had the support at home that you needed.
I would say just to be understanding, because it's like a new transition literally for everyone, the family and the student. At first, me personally, me and my dad, we kind of had a bit issues just with communication and him wanting me to call him all the time and me not having the time to have those conversations with him on the phone. But we definitely came to an understanding and an agreement that we would talk on the phone at least once a week, even if it was literally just checking like, are you okay? Do you need anything? How's life going? But just having like an understanding of like, it's a different situation, circumstance coming to university, and just knowing that, keeping in touch some way, somehow, however you fit, however you see best, is a great thing to kind of come to an agreement about.
I would say to promote new student family programs, because we are new student and family programs. So definitely keep in touch with NSFP as a department. There are plenty of ways to do so. One being the Family Connections e-newsletter that gets sent out. There's a lot of advice for family members and a lot of support offered to family members through this department. And I think that's one of my favorite parts about what we do, is that we help students and we also help families just as much.
Yeah, and I would say kind of just being able to have a conversation with your student about both of your expectations about how to move forward. One great thing that I really appreciate both of my parents did, they kind of gave me space, especially throughout that first transitional period, because a lot comes at you really quickly during your first semester at college, and calling home isn't really at the top of your student's mind all the time maybe, but just being realistic about the stuff that they're doing, and then also how often you would like to hear from them, I think is a really important conversation to have with your student, just like Ayana was saying. One thing that I really loved was just sending a text every now and then, so maybe I didn't have time to sit on a phone call or do a FaceTime, but my mom would send me pictures of my dogs back home. I would send her pictures of like the orgs that I was attending and all of that stuff. So just being communicative and realistic with each other.
And then with the expectations, definitely like knowing how your student is and seeing what they want. Like I know for me, if I get an Amazon packet for something like I didn't know that I needed, I definitely appreciate it. If I love to FaceTime, but your student might like to text or might like to have a phone call, or even I know with the newsletter, like we show you guys events, showing your student like, hey, there's an event happening on Landis. So like having like their backs, even if it's not even like helicoptering, just knowing that you're able to talk to them afterwards definitely is appreciated.
I'll give a shameless plug for a program that is happening through New Student and Family Programs. Right now we have Notes to Your Knoll that's going on through August 23rd. So you can actually write your note to your student and submit it through our portal. And we actually hold on to those notes until a little bit into the semester and deliver them kind of when they're unexpected. That way your student has a surprise if they're dealing with homesickness or just transition issues in general. It's a really good opportunity, and I very much encourage y'all to participate in that program. It's just simply mailing a letter, and we take care of the guesswork of how to get it to your student, which is really nice. And Jared dropped the link there for us. I also dropped a link to some conversation starters, and as Adriana and Deb mentioned, talking about expectations. It's also talking to your student about some key topics that they might encounter throughout their first year, and how you can help them set those expectations. So definitely encourage you to check that out. Looks like we have a question in the chat. Where or how do we send students packages or mail? Can anybody talk to that?
Yes, students are assigned a U-Box through the UPS store, and it's a personalized PO box. They should be getting an address. They should get an email from the UPS store. So it should be this. I will send a link in the chat for that student mail and storage, but it will be your student's name, their U-Box number, and then it should be like 75 North Woodward Avenue, Tallahassee, Florida. And that should be like the mailing address for everything. So every package and letter that you send your student should go directly to that PO box.
And in regards to picking up, how do you manage that process? Do you get an email or anything like that, or what makes most sense there?
Your student will receive an email whenever they have something at the UPS store to pick up. And then they can go, I believe the UPS store keeps packages for about a week or so. So they can go at any time. They scan a QR code that's sent to them in the email, or they input the little code that they get sent, and then they can pick up all their packages at the same time, or they can pick up just one of the packages. But it's a really easy and efficient process.
Very nice. All right, well, if we don't have any more questions, which I don't see any coming in, definitely want to turn it over to y'all to say, what's one thing that you did your first year that you were super glad that you did, that we can hopefully get these family members to encourage their students to do?
I know. I already know. I said it earlier. The one thing I'm so happy I did was go to that general body meeting by myself. Eventually, actually, all my friends that I knew previously came to the or joined the organization. But I'm glad that I took that first initial step to go on my own and find my own path and not really rely on anybody else. Because in that, I found my mentor, I found my best friends, my littles, all of that on my own. And I would have missed that if I was too scared, too afraid to go by myself. So I'm so happy I did that.
Definitely what Ayana said. I did the fake it till you make it. I didn't know what I was doing here, especially with COVID, but I was like, let me join something on campus that I know will let me grow. And then I was able to join OL, where I was able to see all these people from different kinds of backgrounds, different areas. And even also, I was definitely so scared to just apply because I didn't know if I was going to get accepted. But just taking that first step, you don't know the people you meet, the opportunities you get. And then even this semester, even though we are coming from COVID, I was able to find somewhere to do or something to do in the beginning of the school year.
Yes, kind of similar for me. It would probably be going to that first involvement fair and actually showing up to the meeting for the organization that I was interested in. So after I attended the first meeting for the Asian American Student Union, I met a group of people that those were my friends for my first year on campus, and I still talk to them to this day. So really encourage taking that first step in attending something like that, which seems really scary because you know that tons of people are going to be there, all of these different organizations, and it is very overwhelming, especially as a first year student. So don't be afraid to take that leap, attend the event, go to the meeting and stuff like that, because you never know what'll come from it.
I would say a bunch of things. I would say I'm so glad that I went to that life coaching meeting. I'm so glad that I got involved with the newspaper, which got me involved with orientation, which got me involved with a bunch of things. But I would also say I'm really glad that I actually invited my roommate out to an event, because I had a randomly assigned roommate. And so I could have very well just never talked to him and just been this is someone I don't know. We're just going to live together. We're not going to be best friends. I've been living with that roommate for 3 years now. I'm about to move into FSU for my third year and live with him again. So I'm just so glad that I did that, because I made a lasting connection, and I never would have realized that we had so much in common, and that we turned out to be best friends. So I'm very glad that I really took advantage of the friendships that were right in front of me.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing, y'all. Y'all are so great. A few parting reminders for folks on the call today. If your student is still figuring out and trying to navigate or has any anxiety related to Florida State, or just in general wants to learn more about what is out there and resources available to them, I encourage them to look into our first year seminar course, Chart Your Course. We do still have seats available. They can look it up and register by searching in their MyFSU account, SLS 2206. I don't know why I just lost the number. So SLS 2206, Chart Your Course. It's a great opportunity for your students, and they get a pre-assigned mentor as well. And that's a really cool opportunity for your students. As a reminder, and I think Adriana mentioned this, orientation leaders are some of the greatest resources that this campus has. I'm obviously a little biased, but they've just got a wealth of knowledge and a lot of lived experiences. And so in that situation, if you or your student find yourself not knowing who to contact or where to go, please know that there's a whole slew of people at FSU that are committed. And just one of those is your orientation leader from the summer. And if you don't remember who that is, that's okay. Contact New Student and Family Programs and let us know how we can help you. And then the last thing I will say is just ask for help in general. That's what Ask a Knoll is there for. So don't let your students be lost on that first 2 days of class. We'll help them navigate that and avoid any trauma related to that. And if your student is looking for an on-campus job, know that New Student and Family Programs is looking for a brand new set of orientation leaders, our 2022 orientation leaders, which is hard to imagine, but those applications will go live in September. And we do encourage your students to take a look at that as well. We hope you all have a wonderful evening. I want to give a special thank you to all of our orientation leaders that joined us tonight. Maddie, Ayana, Adriana, Deb, thank you so much for being here. And to our family members, good luck. This is going to be a wonderful semester, and know that we've got some folks here supporting you and your student along the way. Hope you all have a great night, and go Noles.